Whoa, we'll get back to the recipe involved in that in a second, but today's a two-for. You're gonna get two projects in one video. As I mentioned in the last video, this is the time of year where things are very, very busy and there's a lot of projects going on. Working on one project and some other areas get neglected, but today we're gonna start off with the tiller, so let's get started. I'll meet you out there by the garden. One thing nice about having the chickens adjacent to the garden area now is in the spring they can roam in there freely and there is not one weed or patch of green or anything living in there that they don't scrape, scratch, and eat. We've had about 5 days of dry weather, and this is just perfect for tilling right now. If you're in the market for a new or used tiller, I recommend that you look for a gear-driven tiller and not a chain-driven tiller. I had a chain one just prior to this one, and it didn't last too long. Just a lot more things I think can go wrong with the chain-driven one. Luckily that was still under warranty and they gave me a replacement, and the replacement was gear-driven. just one aspect of using a tiller around our property. It's not a very huge garden. It's not like a 1 or 2 acre food plot or something like that. It doesn't take much time to do it, but sure does make it easier, and I'll be needing the tiller a little bit more when I start working around the pole barn and getting that smoothed out and leveled out. We're just planting some of the basics this year. We're not going too crazy, just some tomatoes, cucumbers, squash, and some zucchini. We may not be around that long at the end of August. We might be going on a very extended trip, and of course that's when everything's going to be coming in on this crop here. Okay, that's it for the first project, and now let's get back to that recipe for the tipping situation that I was in. First time taking JD out on the road this year, and I immediately realized I did not put down the stabilizers in the rear of the trailer. So I'm at my friend Don's, and he's got a little project here towards the backyard. He wants to make a little pad for some of his trailers, and it's a little tight back there. I had brought my box blade for ballast and realized it probably wouldn't work too well if I had it hooked up to the back. There's not a lot of turning room back there. So I took it off, and I realized that not having ballast in the back was going to be a little bit of an issue, and when I started doing loads of stone, I made sure that they weren't very large bucketfuls. So I'm trying to keep the loads low. I'm going very slow. I'm not whizzing around or anything like that, and I am being careful. Now it might be hard to see, but there is a slight change in the contour coming off of the grass onto his prepped area. Now this is probably a little bit more stone than the previous loads that I brought back there, and everything seems to be going okay. If you've watched my videos earlier this winter, you know that I put a Curtis cab on my tractor, and the Curtis cab weighs about 300 to 400 pounds, and a lot of that weight is up high, and it does take away some of the stability of the tractor, and I have discussed what method I might use to help get some of that stability back. So this is going to be the load in question, and it's not a very large load. It's not compared to some of the previous ones. Now that's the view from the bucket. My friend Don thought that my tractor was definitely going over, and so did I. I have my 360 camera mounted so I can pick several views from that camera, and here's another one. So just a slight change in the contour, and not having the ballast on the back, having the load in the front, it just was a little recipe for me tipping this tractor over. One of the first things I immediately did was to kind of get on the high side, shift my weight, which is I think a natural reaction any of us would have, but also to immediately put down the loader. And even at this point I still have that feeling that I'm leaning way over to the right, and I'm slowly just trying to get the contents out of the loader and straighten myself out. Give you one last view of me, a little bit more of a close-up with the pucker factor. So I'm just dwelling on this for a little while. I just want to reinforce that it does not take much for you to lose stability of your tractor. After putting the cab on, I have talked about stabilizing the tractor a little bit better, either filling the tires or getting spacers. And I decided after this event that I'm going to try the spacers first. And the reason I'm not going with filling the tires right away is that I've got some years on my tractor now. The tires are showing a little bit of wear, and I wouldn't want to fill them up and then have to replace my tires within a year or so. So right now the spacers are the way to go, and look for a video on installing those sometime in the near future. We've got about a third of the stone down. It's going to be about a 2-inch thick layer right now. Going to tamper that down, add more stone, tamper it down again, and repeat. I'm sure we've all had similar tipping situations, and if you've had, please share them down below, because I think this is helpful information, and sometimes we get complacent when we're working on projects, and just a little reminder now and then I think is helpful for us to be careful. Just for reference, it's about 88 degrees today and very humid, and you might notice I have like a little clip-on fan that helps move some of the air around just to make it a little bit cooler. It's not terrible, and actually the cab is helping to keep the sun off of me. Getting towards the end of the project here, so I hope everybody enjoyed this video. Hopefully it makes you think a little bit next time you're out there doing a project. Maybe slow down or think about what's going on. If you enjoy these videos, hit that like button. Subscribe, click on the little bell when you want to know when a new one is coming out, and keep an eye on us. Take care, everybody.